Hello and welcome to the Encore Research Group podcast, where we encourage community research and education with weekly podcasts. I'm your host, Benton Loeyball, and this week we're talking about what memory is and problems with it. A trip down memory lane. We've all heard of the cardinal directions, north, east, south, and west, and some of us even learned the mnemonic, never eat soggy wheat, or soggy waffles. I haven't used that mnemonic since elementary school, so it was a fun trip down memory lane. But that's weird, right? At some point, it was easier for me to remember a phrase than the cardinal directions themselves. And now I don't even need the phrase at all. In fact, I don't even really think about directions. When I look north, I just know that east is to my right. Memory is weird because it's really complicated. Now, my editor said that I had to keep this podcast shorter than the audiobook of War and Peace, so we're going to simplify a lot. Memory can be divided into implicit and explicit memory. Implicit is unconscious and rigid. It includes actions, emotional responses, muscle movements, physiological responses, skills, and habits. Knowing how to ride a bike is an example of an implicit memory. Explicit memory is conscious and flexible. It is also called declarative memory because you can easily declare the memories with statements like, I rode my bike 10 miles yesterday, or a bicycle has 2 wheels, a frame, a chain, and pedals. This example also shows the 2 separate types of explicit memory, episodic, made of autobiographical stories, and semantic, made of facts. Now that we know the types of memory, how do we actually remember stuff? Memories are formed through 3 major steps. Encoding is attending to new information and processing it. Consolidating and storing are physical changes in the brain, converting information from electrical to the cellular and protein level, making new synapses and storing memories. Retrieval is reconstructing a memory by bringing information together. Several parts of the brain are involved in these processes. Implicit memories may involve the emotion-related amygdala, the motion-oriented cerebellum, reflex pathways, the wrinkly neocortex, and other areas. They tend to be stored in the circuits related to the memory. Bike riding involves the motor circuit, for example. Now they say an elephant never forgets, but the hippo is very important for explicit memory. The hippocampus, that is. Explicit memories rely heavily on the hippocampus, a seahorse-shaped area of the brain. The hippocampus helps process and link explicit memories together, but they're really stored in the areas of our brain associated with the sensation of those memories, called association cortices. Now this makes sense. When I think of learning to ride a bike, I remember images of the parking lot, the yell of my papa's voice calling after me as I roll down a hill, the thrill of excitement as I balance. To retrieve these parts of the memory, I activate the visual cortex, the auditory cortex, and the emotional amygdala. Memories are spread throughout the brain, and to retrieve them, we have to make connections that reactivate those same parts, though we can make mistakes and distortions through this retrieval. But much more serious than simple retrieval mistakes is memory loss. This can come from myriad causes, including head injury, infections, tumors, alcohol and drug misuse, depression, anxiety, medication, and organ problems like liver damage. Taking the cake, though, are age-related conditions like dementia. Normal aging may make parts of memory formation and/or retrieval more difficult, but dementia is a different story altogether. Dementia is a syndrome, a group of symptoms characterized by a loss of memory and cognitive abilities. Alzheimer's is the most common cause of dementia and is the 7th leading cause of death in the United States. The exact underlying cause of Alzheimer's is still unclear, but the effects are devastating. Proteins build up and around neurons, especially those in the hippocampus and other memory-related areas. These neurons become dysfunctional and die, and memory is taken with them. People have trouble forming new memories and can't retrieve old ones. Other than Alzheimer's, there are also other forms of dementia such as vascular dementia, Lewy body dementia, frontotemporal dementia, and those caused by Parkinson's disease, substance abuse, tumors, brain injuries, and metabolic disorders. For each of these, the underlying condition damages the pathways where memories are encoded, stored, and/or retrieved. Neurons can't regrow old memories, so the best treatments for these are often to reduce risk factors and seek early preventable treatment methods where possible. Risk factors include physical inactivity, excess body weight, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, smoking and drinking alcohol, social isolation and depression, and age. This list gives a few clear suggestions on how to reduce the risks. Stay active and eat healthy. Keep blood pressure and blood sugar under control. Reduce alcohol and tobacco intake, and engage in hobbies, support groups, family, and friends if possible. Beyond reducing risk factors, a doctor may be able to diagnose the specific type of dementia and prescribe supportive medications. These may include medications that inhibit enzymes or specific neural receptors in the brain, medications that reduce blood sugar and cholesterol, and ones that may address specific symptoms like depression. Clinical trials have been underway for decades, seeking specific medications that aim to stop the progression of dementia and protect against the risk factors. Of course, the biggest risk factor is age, and if you can figure out how to reduce age, please give us a call. Thanks for joining us on this week's episode. If you'd like to know more, all of our sources are linked in the podcast description. You can also visit our website at encoredocs.com. That's ENCOREDOCS.com. Encore Research Group has been involved in clinical research for over 25 years. We have 7 clinical research sites across Florida, including 2 Phase 1 units. If you're in Florida, join us at sites in Northeast Florida and on the Nature Coast. If you're outside of Florida or South Georgia and are interested in joining a clinical trial, head over to clinicaltrials.gov. For more great content, including discussions by physicians and clinical research experts, check out the MedEvidence podcast. My name is Benton. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next week.